Hello everyone, welcome to Me Lab Studies. In this video, we are going to solve one more SQL problem as part of SQL interview preparation for data analyst or data engineer interview. You can see here that is question number 15. Write a SQL query to return player names who did hat-trick half centuries. And we have given two tables, matches and players. In matches table, we have match ID, player ID and runs scored by each player. Now in players details, we have ID and name. This ID is nothing but player's name and player ID and player's name. Okay. Now, if you see the details of matches table, you can see we have different match IDs and different players IDs and runs scored by each player. Okay. Now, if you see how many matches are there, 2401, 2402, 2403, and 2404. There are four matches in a row. Okay. Now, these are the players from different countries. Now, these are the scores. Okay, scored by these are the runs scored by each player. Okay, now we need to find those players who did hat-trick half centuries. If you observe these scores, all scores are greater than or equal to 50, right? So these details are nothing but half century players details only in different matches. Okay, now we need not to check their runs scored because of those are all are half centuries only, but we need to check this is a hat trick of centuries, right? So we need to check a player who did half centuries in successive or consecutively three times, right? Then only we call that as hat trick half century, right? Now we need to check a player who scored consecutively three matches is half century or not. Okay. Now if you see 204, he scored 60 in the first match. Now if you check in the second match, is there any 204? So 202, I mean second match 204, there is no 204. So these are four matches in a row. If a player who did not score half century in the second match, then it is not possible for him to be a hat trick because of there is just two matches ahead. I mean after two, right? That is 3 and 4. So we can avoid this 204, right? Now if you see 105, the first match he scored 52, that is half century. Now if you see in the second match, yeah, it is there 105, right? That is 61. So 105 scored successively two times half centuries. Now if you check another match, that is third match, is there any 105? Yeah, 105 is there. So this 105 is consecutively did half centuries for three times. So we can consider this player as hat trick player. I mean a player who did hat trick half centuries, right? Okay, next one, 256. In the first match, he did 88 score. Now we'll see in the second match, 256. There is no 256, so we can avoid this one because of there is just two matches after two second match, right? That is 3 and 4. So it is not possible if a player who did not score half century in the second match. Okay. Now if you consider 245, and in the first match he scored 90. In the second match, there is no player. I mean, 245 is not present in I mean, he did not off century in second match, so we can avoid that 245 also. Now in 100, if you see 100, there is no 100 in second match, right? Okay, we can avoid that as well. Next, 128. If you see in the second match, 128 is present. So this 128 player did two off centuries successively. Okay. Now if you see in the third match, there is no 128 in the third match, so he is not done a hat trick half century, but he did two half centuries in a row. Okay, now if you see in the fourth match, yeah, it is there, 128 is present in the fourth match, he did again half century, but we cannot consider this 128 as hat trick half centuries because of it is not in a successive rows and it is not in consecutive, right? So we can consider 105 is a hat trick half century player. Okay, now if you see 348 in the second match, there is no 348, so we cannot consider it. Next, 105 is already we discussed. 385, there is no 385. Next, 128 we already have seen, right? Next, 420, there is no 420. Now we can see we cannot consider any one of these players because of there is no matches after this one. So we will return only 105 because of this is the only player who did consequently three times half centuries. That is why we call it as hat trick half centuries. Okay, we cannot consider one at 128 because of he did half centuries in the first and second match, but he did not half century in third match. He did after four. I mean, in the fourth match he did. So it is not considered as hat trick. Okay. Now we'll write a SQL query and we'll check these matches are going to increase by one. I mean, so that these matches are in consecutive and these players has to be there in those particular matches, right? So already we have all scores are in half century, I mean greater than 50, greater than or equal to 50. So we need not to check this runs score. We only check these players are present in consecutive matches of this or not. Okay, how can we check it? We will be joining this table with the same table. I mean, we will be using self join, and we will be increasing the match ID by 1 and checking with the same player is present in the same match or not. Okay, we'll check with that. We'll start writing SQL query. Now you can see here we have two tables, that is matches table and players table. Okay, that is WC matches and WC players. These are the data that you can see here. This is the same data that we have already seen before. Okay, now we need to join these two tables because of we need to extract names of the players. And we, if you observe these two tables, we have match ID, player ID, and runs scored in matches table, and ID and name in players table. And this ID is nothing but player ID, and this is the player ID. So we will join these two tables on the basis of player ID, and we need to extract this name also. Okay, now I'm going to extract all details from match table. I'm referring matches table as M and players table as P. Select M dot star comma P dot name from WC matches joining WC players on what is the condition? M dot player ID is equals to P dot ID. Okay, now if you execute this one, we need to assign this as M and we need to assign this as P, right? Now if you execute this one, you can see here all matches details and their respective players names also. Okay, now I'm going to assign this as city. Now we need to check a player who did hat-trick of centuries or not. How can we check it? Because of all scores are greater than or equal to 50, we need not to check these scores. Okay, because of by default all values are greater than or equal to 50 considering as half centuries. Now we need to check a player who is there in each successive of 3 matches or not. Okay, if a player is present in successive or consecutive of 3 matches, by default this their scores is 50, I mean greater than or equal to 50, then we consider those particular players are called as hat-trick of century players. Okay, now we need to joining this table with the same table on the basis of we are going to increase the match ID by 1 and we need to check the same player is present in that match or not. Okay, now I need to extract only name, right? So I'm just extracting only name. I'm referring city as C from city C, joining the same table CTE. I'm referring this as C1. On what is the condition? Condition would be we need to joining on the increment of match ID and same player is present in that particular match or not. I mean after first match. Okay. Now we will check C dot match ID has to be increased by 1 is equals to C1 dot match ID. Okay, and also we need to check this particular player present in C is equals to C1 dot player ID. Okay, now if you execute this one, match ID spelling is mistake. Now you can see here we have these players who did successively or consecutively 2 times half centuries because of we joined or we checked only one match and after one match. I mean 2 matches only we checked it. Okay, now we need to check one more time, that is second match and third match. We check only first match and second match, right? Now we need to again join the same table CTE. I'm referring this as CT C2 and on what is the condition? C1 dot match ID is increased by 1 is equals to C2 dot match ID. Okay, and also we need to check C1 dot player ID has to be present in third match, right? C2 dot player ID. Okay, now if you execute this one, you can see here this is the only one player who successively or consecutively did 3 half centuries. Okay, now this first joining on the basis of first and second match. The second condition would be second and third. So it is checking consecutively of 3 times the same player present in each of those matches. Okay, this is the name of player who did hat-trick of centuries. Okay, because of all scores are greater than or equal to 50, we will be only checking only a player is present in successively or consecutively 3 matches or not. Okay, I hope you understand this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you.